Hello and welcome to the channel. I am Jonathan Mathis, the sports judge. Good morning. Court is back in session. We got a lot of March Madness talk. We had a lot of St. John's believers, a team many had going to the Elite Eight and even the Final Four. What's actually surprising is that Arkansas pulled off the upset to knock off St. John's. They're out of the NCAA tournament. A great season comes to an end. Of course, we're going to look at Rick Pitino. How do you bench the Big East player of the year in the final 4 minutes of the biggest game of the season? Look, RJ Luis Jr. didn't have his best game. I don't even know what was he thinking. I feel like there's more to the story. I'm shocked he benched his best player. Listen, I want to know what really led to RJ Luis Jr. getting benched. Like, out of curiosity, why? What was said? What happened? Even if he had a terrible game, you don't bench your best player in crunch time while your entire team can't shoot. Very curious, wild move by Rick Pitino. It's super baffling to me that he set RJ Luis in a close game with 5 minutes to go and never gets him back in the game. That was the wrong time to punish him for having a bad shooting day, if that's what it was. The one issue you had to worry about with St. John's is shooting. It's like, all right, you can play defense and you have exceptional guard play. All of that is true, but you can't shoot the ball. And that's what also did it for them, their inability to shoot. Shooting 9% from 3-point range, 9%. That's why they shot from 3-point range, or that's what they shot from 3-point range, and 28% from the field. That's going to give you a loss and resulted in that. This is probably the worst shooting I've seen in the tournament. To give some credit, Arkansas bullied St. John's, to which I say, when Arkansas stepped on the court, they were tougher than I thought. It's only an upset if you look at the seeding. The fact that St. John's played bully ball against Big East schools all year, I thought St. John's would be able to beat Arkansas. Never bet against a John Calipari team. I should have known better. I didn't realize how good the Razorbacks were until I saw the game on Saturday. If I'm St. John's on the losing end of this, I'm sick. And you know, Arkansas was not a team you were just going to run over, and they showed that. I saw a battle-tested Arkansas team from a competitive conference. Now listen, I think everybody was so hyped up about St. John's and had picked them to win, and then nobody was really paying much attention to the game or the matchups itself because the narrative was John Calipari versus Rick Pitino, a rivalry that dates back to the days Coach Cal coached Kentucky and the years Rick Pitino coached Louisville. We got caught up in that and surely took it as if Arkansas couldn't match their level of energy and intensity. Well, they did. I got no dog in the fight, but all of a sudden, this is a team to keep an eye on. And I wouldn't really call them a Cinderella. This has been an unusual tournament because we have no underdogs. It is just major conferences, mostly the SEC, no true bracket busters. Underdogs are Cinderella schools dancing to the Sweet 16. All four number one seeds are still alive. You have more powerhouses and heavyweights slugging it out. We did get some really good second round matchups. UConn and Florida came down to the wire. Obviously, you got this one, St. John's and Arkansas, which was a very entertaining game. But there were also still some blowouts There were still some games that never felt like they were anywhere close. It's been chalky, and it's been about the heavyweight teams. But to get back on point here, to stay on topic, the way Arkansas loves to wear you down, I think they're a team to look out for. That feels wrong to me to say John Calipari is the underdog in this tournament, only because of seeding, really. Look, they're a 10th seed. It's Arkansas. They're in the SEC, a powerhouse conference. The game that I circled over the weekend, I kind of wanted to watch was St. John's and Arkansas. Now I'm like, all right, Arkansas has something. They've only gotten better as the tournament has gone on. So that means for Arkansas, they can only continue to shock the world since they're the only underdog we really have. I was very impressed with what I saw from Arkansas. And a lot of credit goes to John Calipari. The Johnnies imploding in the second half, chance to win the game. And again, like we've seen before with Rick Pitino, he coaches with his ego. All of a sudden, he's the smartest guy. He benches his two best players in the first half, then the second half, and your team loses the game. This was his way of punishing his players instead of letting them play through it. A pants-crapping job of epic proportions. Complete, total, 100% bad coaching from Rick Pitino. And we know he's smarter than that. It's got you nothing. That was just a terrible in-game job. I just don't understand how you go away from your best player. I get being frustrated, but I think his ego definitely got in the way and he screwed it up. I think, as I look at it now, Rick Pitino is losing his mind as he gets older. That was a bad look for him. And what happened after the game is, to me, the more interesting part of the story. The better story is in the losing locker room. So there was Rick Pitino talking to the media after the loss during the post game. The story here is that when asked if he kept Luis on the bench because he was tired, Pitino, after the game, not really giving an explanation, he just said he's 3 for 17. Like, stop asking me leading questions. The reporter asked a question and he's like, you know the answer. What kind of answer is that? He really didn't give us much. How would anybody know? You're the head coach. The Big East Player of the Year is sitting the last 5 minutes. There's a natural reaction to losing, obviously. I get that. I get you're frustrated. The game obviously didn't go your way. And because you didn't like what the reporter asked, and you kind of took it out on the reporter, it makes you look bad. I just don't understand how you take your best player out of the game. There was absolutely no excuse for sitting him down with your season on the line. I don't care how horrendous he looked. That's something you don't do. He's still your best player at the end of the day. You don't know. Luis could have changed the trajectory of the game with a couple of big shots. You don't know. With him on the floor, he gives them the best chance to win, even if he was having an off night. Don't take him out of the game. It was a great question from the reporter, like, what's really going on here? I feel like Pitino is not telling the whole story. We've seen guys struggle shooting the basketball and still catch fire the last minute and a half. And they win the game. So to say it was a leading question, I don't think it was a leading question. I think it was a legitimate question. And by the way he refused to answer the question, I wonder why. you 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 already know why he didn't play? No, coach. We don't know. To bench him in a close game and embarrass him on a big stage is definitely a choice by Rick Pitino. And you're not answering the question and attacking the reporter is a clear indicator that it was more than just a bad shooting night. There was progress happening this season. Did they turned things around at St. John's. This was the best we've seen from St. John's in years. And the way I look at it, St. John's basketball is back. And when you have the season they had, it should come as no surprise that a lot of people had them picked to get to the Elite Eight. Some people had them penciled in to get to the Final Four. And I really didn't have many expectations for Arkansas as I did for St. John's. John Calipari didn't have all these top recruits. They're not Kentucky, a blue blood. Nobody had the level of expectations for Arkansas to do what they're doing. I was so wrong about the early success Calipari is having at Arkansas. I expected it to take a couple of years for him to start getting his players. Calipari still has it. Still a great coach, a Hall of Fame coach, and has a great class coming in next year. And now his team is dancing to the Sweet 16, and Rick Pitino's team is going home. All right, everyone. Hope you guys have a great Tuesday. It's still early here on the West Coast. It's 6:15 in the morning. This is when I usually like to do my videos, if I can. A lot of times I don't do them in the morning, but I should because I feel energetic. I have a couple cups of coffee, and I'm just feeling great in the mornings. But guys, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching the content, and make sure you guys hit the subscribe button. You guys can follow me and keep up with me on various platforms. The Sports Judge 85 on TikTok, Sports Judge 85 on Instagram. Also, like and follow the fan page on Facebook as well. But guys, I'm getting out of here now. We'll talk again very soon. Thanks for your time. Thanks for checking out the content. Have a great day.